Danzig or war? It'll be war, it appears. Well, hello everyone. This is Gamer1745 with my continuing look at the new DLC for Hearts of Iron 4, No Step Back, Railways, and other new improvements. Wanting to learn about that, but we are going to war here. So, a lot of stuff to do. Some of the stuff just because I've been talking and making episodes. Haven't done well. You notice I'm going to say it again. Paradox is lazy. Okay. Please note what I just said a few moments ago. This is the No Step Back DLC that I'm focusing. I paid for with my own money. If you want to support the channel, you can join my Patreon. I want to thank Sir Toyjet, Nils, Timothy, the Hoffmanator, and others for your support over on Patreon, just if you want. They're using a photo here of Chinese nationalists. Okay, they're using sort of a newspaper-like photo, World News. Yeah, okay, that's cool, World News. But can't you take the time with a DLC that is focused on the Soviet Union and Poland, as far as I understand, that they didn't have some guy Google up a photo, because that's what they've done here. They're reasonably in the public domain. There's fair use. I mean, there's public domain and then there's fair use, and this would come, in my opinion, fair use. It can be for a for-profit enterprise, fair use. It doesn't have to be non-profit. I've looked into this because I use a lot of historical images and other images, and there's a whole, at least for America, whole tripod of things for fair use and whatnot. Figure out it. Yeah, because it's of historical importance. So you could easily grab, a newspaper type photo, or you can take even a more clear photo and grainy it up if you want to, real quickly, of some Polish troops. I'd be shocked if it took more than 10 minutes to even just get a crummy, basic, something quickly identifiable as Polish in this photo. Paradox, you're lazy. You create a Polish focus, Polish and Soviet, yeah, I know, DLC, and you don't even add in a better photo for Poland refused. So every nation right now, if you're a human player, gets, and I think even the AI theoretically gets this pops up for them, and you can't even do that. That is lazy. Because, yeah, I know budgets, because I don't know if viewers, you realize they have budgets for these DLCs, and basically the budget is how many people they have sitting at desks programming or doing something for each day. And they do have artist time. I'm going to be sort of loose on how I know some of this stuff. They do have artist time to like get these portraits made. They got to get artist time. And I know for a while they didn't have anybody working on artist time for Hoi 4. Now, before whatever the next DLC that was coming out, I'm sure they got somebody with artist time to do it. But it doesn't take an artist to make a grainy newspaper-looking image. It doesn't take somebody who has art skills. It's just somebody that can recognize things and size it and stick it in there. So, yeah. I'm a picky on this, I know, but that element is lazy. Okay, game. I know it's Hoi is in your bread and butter, but I would love to see a full German watch on the Rhinegrad strategy of playing with decisive campaigns. Yes. Genose. I made one episode recently of continuing from where I was for the scenario. Didn't get very good views, but the earlier stuff did. So if there's enough views on that, I'm going to play it. I really love the game, and it just, if people watch it, because there's always a few people like you that I know will watch it, but the 10, 20 dedicated viewers honestly isn't enough. So if it gets the views, I'm there for it, and I'm going to keep pushing on that. So yes, thanks for the encouragement. I do appreciate it, and I'm just letting you know, yes, it is something I will make some more episodes on. If it gets enough views, I will do the full German. What he's talking about, if you don't know, is the German Ardennes offensive, and the Watch on the Rhine is sort of the is what the German side of that is called. So yes, that is on my to-do, at least to continue the current scenario that I've been playing and get it to some conclusion, see the viewers, and see about starting another one and see how that goes. I prefer to support you, gamer, more than Paradox, even if only to pay for a Coke. Well, Beam Slam, that's fine, and I don't know, I really appreciate anybody who wants to support financially, but really what I ask is, comments on videos, hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing. That's what I ask from people. But if they want to support more, I really do appreciate it. No pressure out there. It's not absurdly long, I think. Great. No. If it can get good views, I'm up for it. It'll be the campaign that goes on for a while. Could build an yes. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a try. That and I've also been getting good views on my recent War in the East 2 Leningrad scenario playthrough, which I'm going to continue that to the end of that, and we'll see about that as well. Just anybody watching Hearts of Iron? Hearts of Iron, I don't think will ever leave my channel, whether it's Hearts of Iron 3 or Hearts of Iron 4 or Hearts of Iron 5 someday, in 5 or 10 years or something. There will always be Hearts of Iron. Maybe always, 5 days a week like it's trying to be now. Jumping back and forth between the two games. Maybe it'll just be 2 or 3 times a week. I don't know, but there will always be Hearts of Iron 4 or 5 or 3 or something. Always be a Hearts of Iron here for you to watch. Don't worry, people, if that's the only thing you're interested in. But I do want to do other things as well. So can't do everything, but I hope to do more than I have been. Right. Okay. So we can invite to faction. Well, yes. This is the only one. Romania. They will. That's what they said about. Maybe I should have waited for the second. For that. I'm actually going to pursue that right now. I know I just saved this before, so I can go back to it if we need to. Okay, well, what I need to do here is, before we go on, yes, the war is starting. I know I haven't. Now, because, and again, I know those of you who've been watching, my bitching and moaning about it's May and I've only just got to here. I didn't do any of this, so we don't have Bohemia, Königsberg, or Mecklenburg additional air bases. Okay, we really, in my opinion, I think, let me look before I speak entirely out my ass. Okay, what do we have? Airbase way up here. Well, 600 planes. We have airbase way down here. We really could have used an airbase. Let's get out of this. Down in this state. Again, I hate, we really could have used an airbase down here. Really, really hate state mechanics. Have you heard me spout on about that enough yet? Okay, so and then we're going to go up here, look after for and yeah, I should probably done some of this prior to starting this off, but hey, Western Zone, we go after both. Yeah, we really should have an airbase here. Just missing. No, it's not here. You know, I hate it less than the state mechanic is these damn air zones. I really wish it was just actually this circle for air operations area. And I can just put them up and draw how big of a circle I want. You know, up to maximum, air operations range. Instead of having to play whack-a-mole, do I need to be over here? Do we need to be over there? And just say, hey, anything in this area, go after. Okay, it looks like you need to come over west to Poland. Okay, oh no, these are ground attack. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine. You do ground attack. Okay, we don't have fighter units over here. Probably because some of the stuff came back from... Okay, we're going to use from Spain here. I think one of these groups is from Spain. You're going to focus on fighters. You are going to operate there. That seems like awfully big operational zone for these guys. I don't know. Maybe it was that big for the, HE 111s, but I don't quite think so. Now we'll go here with you again. I'm not going to do strategic bombing because I don't think it's overly necessary. Okay, you're going to come up and go after anything flying over there. Some of the small scenarios I don't want to watch because the spoiler aspects, some of those I want to play myself. Well, I understand about the spoilers. After I finish the Grand Campaign, is always glad to hear. Yeah, now the Grand Campaign on something like that, quite honestly, I have a tendency to flow with any of the war games, is to look for opportunities and go after them and not maybe be stuck to a pre-plan. I have general objectives for sure, but let's just send you up after fighters. Eastern Germany, no, just you. Oh, hell no, you're supposed to be over here, I think it was. And it doesn't really matter, they're both same strength. It just went, no. These guys deploying up here. And yeah, go after everything. Flies over Germany, Eastern Germany, that is. Now, let's come, where is my base up here? It is. How many do I have? Okay, let's put 100 here, and we're going to put 100 long-range fighters over this zone. And yes, go after fighters and bombers, but mostly it's fighters that I care about. Oh, no. Okay, no. Yeah, you come up over there. Now, next, let's go with 100 naval bombers. You're also going to come up, just you. You're going to come here and go after ships or subs, but yeah, there. Now over here, let's do 60. Baltic Sea. $80. After there. This is more for forward thinking eventually, but you're going to come here. Eventually they're going to be operating up higher, I believe, but for now. And well, let's just put 20 here. We want a bit of a cushion to stay around. Anything wise. Hello, Norio, how you doing? You just did S is Scandi. Sorry, I'm not getting the reference right now. If that is that an achievement? Yeah, that's what I did. Taking Piper North Detour to cut off Eisenhower's infantry divisions, which he presumably could have done in real life. Yeah, trust me, I do believe that there is worthy things to view and deal with is to try to refight the historical thing with minor variations and change of die rolls, if you will. But I'm not that strict a player with any of them. I flow a lot more. Okay, so we are getting some naval air to be operating over there. I know I could have maybe spaced this out better, but okay, so we have fighter. Well, let's come down here. I'm going to give 100 of these. Oh no, not all these. No, they're wrong. Yeah, these will upgrade in time, I know, but let's just put them down here. Where am I? Thought I was, no. Oh. Here. Okay, I clicked the wrong thing. Deploying, come here. Shoot anything that's flying. No, you guys. I have to redo this crap. Okay. Western Poland. Western Poland. And we gotta come down to here. Now, this, okay, am I still selecting on something else? No. Okay, let's keep, I guess I'm still selecting something other. Like I said, it's been quite a while since I've been playing. Okay, we're going to put, well, maybe just some 109s. I'm going to put you up over this Alpine region to help with the air there. Hello, Daniel. How you doing? That will help deal with the air there. They're going to come here, deploying. How many modern? Okay, let's do. Yeah, another 100 here. And you're going to go after not anything that flies. That should hopefully really hammer Poland. Hammer Poland. I wanted to make sure I got that. Now I'm ignoring even the subs that I have, I guess. Oh, cool. Riding bulls. I wouldn't do that, but cool that you're doing that. Good luck. Don't break anything. Be safe. But have fun. I didn't know that you rode bulls. That's cool. Okay, so we got the aircraft up there. Yes, epic. Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, now, okay, so, Germany, Poland, guess we're going to be starting a war real soon. You haven't let the clock go. Or do I have an event here? This mounts right now. MIFO bills. I don't care about those. Okay, okay, they come in. We at war yet? Are we at war yet? Okay. Okay. Line Romanian national focus bypass. You know what the alternative is. So are we? Yes, declare war, conquer. No, we're not going to call in allies. Have this set for a division to quickly rush into there. You see, they left this whole province open. Tell me, people. I know. Again, how is this a dynamic AI that may be different every time you play and give you replayability somehow better than having sort of pre-programmed AI that would actually be sensible? How? Okay, they're going to attack here just to pin those forces into place. These guys are going to attack to pin those forces into place. This motorized division is going to come to there. I quite honestly didn't think they would go this long. Okay, these tank divisions are going to go that way. Panzer divisions, I guess I should say. Okay, all over that way. You're going to join this attack, and you're going to join this attack there. You're going to attack here. You're going to attack here. We're going to attack there. We're going to attack there. One of you is going to attack here. The other one of you is going to attack there, just to pin those forces. I wish there was like a definitive sort of pinning attack, meaning not a full strength attack, but just one that is, yeah, pins the forces down. Come to all of you moving fast forward. Okay. Tell me there is a new pinning attack. No, okay. Oh, quite a bit of stuff. Several rants. Hopefully they were fun, but the war is just beginning. Do you like the train system? What was the DLC or the last one? Well, this is the newest DLC that gives trains. So far, I'm liking the trains. I know a bunch of people disagree with me, but I still think Hoi 4 is the future. I mean, I really should have had the damn Panzer Division sitting down here. I could have just driven to Warsaw, it looks like. You just march into there. You guys come up to there. You attack it to there. One more with you. You and units from this other door. These guys attack here. These guys attack here. These guys attack and move up through the arc. Here, there. Okay. You guys come to there. They're rushing here into here. Okay, you attack here. It's mostly just a pinning. These guys are trying to pin there. Yeah, you join there. You join here so nobody's able to get into Danzig before we can take it. You're going to do a pinning attack. You're doing a pinning attack. You're going to help with this breakthrough here. You. Now we have 3 divisions coming there. Now I'm just pinning the whole border down. It's somewhat of a... Okay, so these... Oh, these divisions here. You're going to come down this way, cross these bridges, into Warsaw. You that's still up there that hadn't moved, come down that way. So we get the trains are so important for Germany. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. This is, I've not gotten any further than this, but I argued for this before Hoi 4 was released. I'm so happy that it's here. I'm not saying that this system is perfect, because I haven't even really played with this, system. I've upgraded some of the railways here, but I mean, like, seeing how it really affects or doesn't affect. I think the railway density should be higher in much of Western Europe. It might not really affect the game, but whether it's just immersion or in minor cases, obviously in Germany, if you're fighting inside of Germany, Germany's losing, and it probably really doesn't matter much. But I'm going to bet there's a railway connection along here, kind of thing. And I know your sort of supplies are coming through here, but if Germany's sort of routing supplies or other things, and that there isn't some of these other connections in here, maybe I don't understand the rail system enough. I don't know, but there should be denser here. Now, there isn't much, here is probably appropriate that some of this actually I think should maybe be, some of these passes should be impassable here. Some of these edges of provinces, maybe even internally in Switzerland, could be looked at. But what gets fundamentally important is like down here, because the railway really ends up more here, I would say, than here. But that's maybe a minor quibble. But the idea of these railways here and their supply, hopefully it's dramatic effects that really, and I thought the Italians had rail connection through here by this time period. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they're just being lazy. Again, paradox. But because I definitely know that there was railway, but basically into here. So a supply, a railway to supply hub there should be at least least that. But really shows sort of the colonial nature and the need for coastal control in Africa. So yeah, hello technologist, how you doing? Yeah, cities, more railway hubs. Yeah, probably likely. I don't know how deep. I have not dug deep into this yet, obviously. No, I'm ignoring my Navy. Sorry. I know I haven't even done the subs. I'm just doing the air power and the ground power. Poland join the Allies. Okay. Yep. Okay, they're pushing on me here. Now, what does... Okay. How does this... Does this need to be on the front line? I see this circle around it, and I thought that that was its bombardment, like you were doing. Oh, well, I guess it... Okay. Okay, look at... Again, I know some of you guys have played this and played much deeper into me, but I see here these two attacks that they're making against me have these little, looks like artillery shells coming in on them. And so, railway gun bombardment. So they are doing... Okay, so you don't have to specify. I thought I was going to have to specify, like, what province to support with. But so he, you know, has enemy air superiority, has attacking a fort, and has railway gun bombardment. Don't know if this stacks or not, but interesting. Because it adds rails to the Italian focus tree that built up. Because it's the focus doesn't add rails. They should have changed it. Yeah, laziness. If you attach railway guns to an army, it will support. Well, when I was technologist, before when I attached this to the army commander here, I specifically given no you know, front lines or, you know, defensive lines or offensive plans, so I just don't trust the AI. Once I attached one of these guns to this army here, they moved it right to the front lines, so it would be vulnerable to attack. And then it was, once it got to this province, it would move it instantaneously. You know, once it got there, it would start moving into this province. Once it got here, it would start moving it back, and it was ping-ponging back and forth. So I just said, nope, just took it out of control from that commander. So the commander will move the gun, but why put this on the front line? Now, yeah, again, I'm not given any area commands, but it only will affect units within this radius. I get that. So, only double tracks, reality networks. No, it was ping-ponging back and forth along. We were at peace, but it was ping-ponging back and forth. And the commander, and I gave this railway gun here, which I was, you know, planning for like assaulting Liège, and coming across some of these forts here, because this is where Ebn Amal is, over in this area. That commander, who again, there's no front lines, but all of his units were up there. He moved it down here. And again, I had not given any command, so I unattached them. I don't get this. Yeah, we could use some artillery, even Italian artillery. We'll take it. Now, it's interesting that Italy has enough artillery that it wants to give me some. Italy did not have... Italy was... in its mainline divisions, at least some of its mainline infantry divisions, they were still using not World War One models, but actual World War One artillery left over. So where Germany, all of its main units was all new artillery, all new guns. I mean, they still had some old guns laying around, and yes, part of the reason they didn't have huge numbers of old guns laying around is because they lost the war and the Allies confiscated a lot of them, but still they and they did use what they had, putting them in the West Wall or the Atlantic Wall or some, other garrison stuff. So they did use those leftover World War One guns for sure, but they specifically made sure that anything that all the proper divisions had new guns. But I'll take them if you got extra ones. So what? Okay. Yeah, we're doing Ben Wars. Okay. What? No. Oh, here. Okay. Yeah. We'll do some of that. Since that is yellow there, it's yellow. Okay, I know we have some more. Not a whole lot more. Let's grab 100 of these guys. You can go up against the poles. Let's go after the fighters. Oh, we sunk some submarines with our aircraft. British submarines, it looks like, and Polish submarines. That's interesting. Poland, I think, had 3, and I just saw, 6 there, 1 destroyed, and some others. Okay, so we've got so far into here. Okay, they've broken through here. Good. Okay. You move there, you move to there. And you who is still stationary, move up this path. Okay. They've given up the attack here for lack of organization, it looks like. You pin them there. You guys follow along to there. You guys move, move, move. Move it, move it, move it. I'm changing one of your taskings to there. And we are at Danzig. That's good, that's fine, we don't need to. Artillery is artillery. It's hard to have bad artillery, but World War I or II. Okay, well, do realize some of the artillery was a pre-World War I designs, and it's pretty heavy, and they're worn-out gun tubes, and they're I don't know if you realize this, Ari. I bet there's earlier episodes in this series where you show the training system and discuss. Yeah, you can. Yeah, look at the earlier ones, and I've gone over and discussed to some degree, and I'm still learning about it. But yeah, there are more stuff about that earlier, and you can see them all chopped up, or you can look for the older live streams. Either way. The French 75 of World War I was a radical new design. The French 75. It had a pneumatic, which means air, recoil system in it. So basically, all of the guns before that, the whole gun carriage, the gun barrel, was fixed hard as it can be onto the gun carriage. And so all of that recoil from firing the gun is transferred into the gun carriage. And then where does it go? Well, there's normally, at least on a lot of models, there are spades that, the gun trails that go off and get stuck into the ground. And so each time you fire that gun, the gun moves. and moves considerably. And big guns move a lot. I've seen some film footage in World War I in which they had these guns that would fire, and they built sort of like a half pipe, like you'd sort of do for skateboards, but just two sides, each for the gun trail. So the gun would fire and then roll back on that to the sort of the half pipe, and then roll back into position to be in the same position again. So they keep firing it if you want to shoot at roughly the same spot every time after you fire it, you have to move that gun back to its original position, and then. So you fire it, you move it back to its original position. You fire it, you move it back to its original position. Fire it, move it back to its original position. So you have to keep doing this every single time. That is what happened with most guns of World War I. The French 75 had a pneumatic recoil system that was a shock absorber that was between the gun and the carriage for it. Now, the gun still moved a little bit, but a lot less. And that's why it could shoot so fast. And it wasn't so much, that the gun not moving, you still sort of stand back a little bit from it when it fired, but not as much as you did everywhere else. So you can load it faster, but it was more having that gun, you didn't have to every time recalculate its position to fire again at the same, roughly the same location. You're not hitting the exact same spot, you're hitting the same close area. And so they were able to fire so fast with those French 75. Now, by late war, the British, the Americans are using some of the French equipment. They're starting to come out with it. I think the Germans are getting some pneumatic artillery systems. I'm not sure how much of those Italians have a recoil system built in their guns from World War I. I just quite honestly don't know, Ari, right off the top of my head, but I sort of doubt it. A lot of guns did not have, on big heavy guns, well, yeah, some of them were getting recoil systems, some weren't, so yeah, using World War I guns is a hell of a lot better than nothing. But when you're looking at like a mobile warfare of North Africa and you're schlepping around World War I artillery, that's sort of like, and it's not so, it's an artillery gun, the more it can move around, the more one gun can affect that battlefield. The more artillery rounds they can fire per hour affects the battlefield. So you need fewer guns to have equal effect on the battlefield, so long as you can supply those guns with ammunition. Finns mostly World War, but they were more effective than the Russian artillery because of better training and firing practices. They had little shells, so learn just a few quick, effective barrages. Yeah, and that supply of shells is definitely a serious thing in the war. And you don't have to have new artillery to be useful, but it sure as hell helps. You're going, okay, really? I said to come down here and you're going to march through the enemy. Not just move along the front line and maybe get tied up into enemy attacks, but you were going to move along. I'm just shifting some of these forces just to make sure they are sort of hanging out and blocking some of the attacks. Not fast-paced warfare, but if you want to destroy fortification, a few shells just need Big Bertha. Yeah, well, the Italians didn't have anything like that, to the best of my knowledge. Their industry just sucks. Well, I mean, they had big naval guns, yeah, but that's about it. Okay, you guys. Of course so. Actually, let's send a couple of you guys down this way. Yeah, I know they're almost in Warsaw. Let's... No, no, you go there. Oh well, just let you go. Go away. All of Warsaw. Okay, so everybody showed up here in Warsaw. You attack there. You joined that attack. You drive to here. You guys come down this way. Come down after that pistol manufacturing location. Yeah, you guys come down. See if I'm taking their new capital from that direction. Not enough manpower to fill our garrisons. Well, we've got manpower. We've got 2 million, so it's got to be equipment. Or things like artillery. China was poorly served by leadership and industrial base. Absolutely. Genose. Absolutely. And they also didn't. The average soldier did not have the political will to fight in the war either, quite honestly. There were, you know, some motivated fascists and whatnot, but most weren't. Most people weren't itching for a war. Would be maybe the way to put it. Power of those railguns penetrating through 30 feet of water, then concrete ammo locker at Sevastopol. Yeah. Well, the question is it worth the cost versus just more planes that are more flexible? Some railway guns, yeah, but the Big Berthas and whatnot, not really. I mean, not Big Bertha, that's World War One. Anzio Annie and whatnot. The really big ones, probably not really worth it. Okay. Bavarian down here now. So you come, keep the corridor open or whatnot. You guys attack here. You, let's get that thing going. You support the attack. I really don't like how you can't just tell it to support attacks that aren't even happening yet. Okay, you come down to there.
Angetreten. Zuhören.
This was even. Again, they didn't have anybody defending the capital, didn't have anybody back here. This whole dynamic AI is just BS. Claiming that it's something the player would want. We would rather have a stuffy old pre-programmed AI instead of this crap. It was halfway sensible. Oh, they moved the capital up to Gdynia. Okay. We'll attack it now.
Ausrücken! Befehle! Ausrücken! Ausrücken! Angetreten! Achtung! Bereit! Bereit! Ihre Befehle? Zuhören! Ausrücken!
You guys attack that because you attack Poznan. I don't know. Let's take a quick look. Well, we've dominated the skies here, it would seem. So, I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a British-looking aircraft, but I don't quite honestly know how much of Air Force, if any, they've actually sent. So I just don't know if they have Polish air models to put up in the sky. Oh shit! What the hell's happened here? Okay, well, oh, there was nobody right in this one little province. Damn. Okay. Well, that's my mistake. They slipped through here. They didn't break through my line. I did not have any troops there. Damn, I messed that up. Okay, you guys come. No. You guys come around this way. I'm to Stuttgart. I don't know what's pushing so deep into there. Well, let's bring you over to this way here. So we have that. Okay, well, I made a mistake, guys. Something pushed in on me here that... Okay, you go there. Just get there now. Because I left that province open, unfortunately. So now... pushing in. Right, well... Let's increase, or I know I have really not paying much attention to it, but we're just going to do more subs, I think. Where we are. Here we are. We're finding more. Okay, we need to produce more artillery, I know, so let's grab all the artillery there. That production line can happen. Right now. Yeah, no, that would be because they got a couple divisions in there. Would be very much a propaganda coup. Yeah, if the French did this, if the French and the British actually did something, you know, pushed hard. Now again, I just did not, I just sort of left this province open here and didn't pay attention enough to it, is why this happened. Okay, well, we're going to send 2 of these divisions in here to pin those forces, keep them from moving into this. They're well defended here. Support the attack. No. So the attack goes well. You come back into there. Okay, well, I screwed that up. Gamer screws up. But hey, I've got a huge force over here. Now, where do they move the capital to this time? We got Gdynia. Now... Oh no, you go back to Danzig. You push down to there with them. Where did their capital go? Oh, you guys get pushed there now. No. Oh, it should collapse any moment. Support the attack. You can cross. That way. Okay, you 6 guys. You guys go back towards the log. Well, actually, go on trains and go on that way. Now, okay, well, let's push in there. They get to change their capital. That's no fair. Back. Okay, well, we got here in time, it looks like, the whole Prague. Okay, you guys can move back into there. going to be a pain getting these guys out of here. Not so much these guys back here, but okay.
Ausrücken! Ausrücken!
Yeah, he does strange one tile wide penetrations now. They never used to. Problem is they don't support themselves. It's almost a good improvement. Yeah, no, the idea. Oh, okay. Oh, they broke through again here. Okay. Oh, okay. I've got to slow this up. That's part of my problem. Is I'm playing this too fast. Hungary seeks to join. Yes. Okay. Okay. They pushed through here.
Angetreten!
We'll be able to cut this off once we kill Poland. That's for sure. Well, even before then, let's get you to Leipzig. You to Berlin, just in case something really wacky happens.
Angetreten! Bereit zum Ausrücken! Befehle!
I do fully believe I can recover from this, but now let's go be a train.
Achtung!
And yeah, I'm disregarding whoever the army commanders might be. And just saying go, go, go. You 4 divisions attack there. You divisions here come this way. Here. I'm gonna go to Ulm. Sounds like a plan.
Achtung!
Come up to there and then turn it
Bereit zum
there.
Ausrücken!
You guys march over to here.
Zuhören!
You guys march to there. Capital now. Oh no, it's still here. Okay.
Ihre Befehle?
Yeah, this would be a hell of a propaganda thing. Well, I'm actually surprised at how well the AI's done this.
Bereit?
Didn't hold there, but they hit that pretty hard.
Achtung!
Joins the Axis, cool.
Ausrücken!
Bring.
Ihre Befehle?
That attack. Guess we need another division coming in here. You drive to there, you come to here. Push to here.
Angetreten! Zuhören!
Poland grabbed up the rest of the Baltic states. Well, that's reasonable now that we see line Hungary fly past.
Ausrücken!
These Czech forts now that I didn't dismantle. Oh, lovely.
Vorwärts, Männer! Vorwärts, Männer!
Yeah, that's doing no good for my morale here.
Befehle! Bereit?
Well, let's grab this group here, and we're going to put them on ground support there. got attacked. Okay, you guys are here, so
Ausrücken!
good. We'll send one to there and one to there. Keep one in Leipzig, just so we don't lose the city even for a moment. Man, this is wow. That's weird.
Befehle? Befehle!
I keep pushing more and more troops in, but once I get them cut off, they're not going to do well. Now, if they had been serious and pushed as hard as they did, now I, of course, did leave this one province unprotected, so it's my fault that it's happened this way. I'm not bitching at them for this.
Zuhören! Achtung!
Back here.
Bereit zum Ausrücken! Bereit! Bereit! Zuhören! Ihre Befehle?
This is really weird. Okay. Glad it's still just staying narrow. That's giving me a lot of hope.
Befehle!
You guys in there. Yeah, I know you're dug into the forts.
Ausrücken!
Let's push hard there. Take this province. Discuss what you think would have happened had France attacked aggressively in the west. Well, okay, France. It's a good. Let's pause while I talk here. France did do the Saar offensive, and now okay, little geography. This I understand what they've done here with the rivers. There's two width of rivers, wide and not wide. I don't know if you want to call this narrow, but there's two width of rivers. They both have different effects, and they specifically wanted to make it clear as to what side of the province the river crossing effect is. So they've moved a little ways away from being map accurate to being sort of province, advancing. So meaning if you're in this province and you're moving up to here, there's no river. But if you're in this province and you're moving to this province, there is a river. That's why this works here. But really, these two provinces shouldn't be this shape. There should be one here and one here, because the way this river actually sort of goes is that there's a bit of the Saarland on the far side of the riverbank here. Germany did not build any significant west wall defenses there. They built it behind the river, not behind the Rhine back here, but just behind whatever smaller river this is here. So there was pretty solid. Now they did have forces here. What basically happens is France attacks. They do fairly well. Germany falls back, but Germany isn't fighting desperately to hold it. They fight, they skirm, I guess I would describe it, and I don't know the details, but sort of like while the Germans are in a good position, they fight, but once their flank gets turned or they start getting too heavy fire, they just withdraw. because they don't need to take casualties. Even though some of the territory that's being taken is reasonably good industrial territory, they know that, especially with a lot of the army out in Poland, they don't really have the army to defend it against a determined attack. The attack that happens, yeah, they could have, but they just sort of fall back to behind the river and where the West Wall is built. So now, because we see the screwy AI problems with Poland and whatnot, we would see the AI trying to defend, and the reason this sort, even though I would still make the province different shape here, is to keep the fort along here, because the AI would desperately try to defend an undefended province instead of the defended one to the rear. So, it's sort of like not perfect, but not terrible either, I would say. And so the French did do the Saarland offensive. To a point, I believe, the French scared themselves. They go, this is too easy. We're doing too easy. This must be a trap. So they withdraw. I do not believe the Germans had the forces in the region to deal with a strong French offensive. France has a significantly large strategical reserve. Now, in the very earliest days, they call it the whole French army because they go to war. Then, since nothing happens, they send a bunch of it home because they've called up units that are critical for the French war effort. Some of them are reserve units they've called up. Some of them are like miners that are pulling iron out of the ground, or others are like steel workers from steel factories that they need, or other just other industrial workers that they really need to keep the war going. And the whole mobilization plan, dealing off of the Franco-Prussian War and then World War I, their whole mobilization idea is, war, fast. Germany's going to come fast, hard at us. We need to mobilize everybody to stabilize the line. So they do that. But that's obviously not what's happening. If they just follow the plan instead of think about it. Now, once they've followed the plan and nothing's happened, they start thinking about it. So they send a lot of units home to demobilize them, go back to work, and then other random people, in other units, not because some of them are specific areas, regions that they know, that they just send them all back home, and then maybe go back. We need these, 10 or 20% of people that are in non-critical work jobs, but just in that region, and then they use those people instead of the units, the reserve units they're from. They just send them, random reinforcements to other units, and other units that are called up that are going to be kept fighting, or kept, in service. Oh, well, you're an important electrical worker, or you're some other, you have some other important war-related job. Will you go home and go do that? You're still in the reserves, you're still in the army, but yeah, you go home, put on your civilian clothes, and go to work, because that's what France needs you to do, because they're not rushing our borders. So they get everything organized up reasonably good. France develops a good reserve force. Now, what France does with this reserve force is it's the force they send into Belgium and up to the heading towards the Netherlands. That's what gets cut off. The whole Dunkirk thing. And so once Germany breaks through the Meuse and comes into here, they have no reserves. Basically nothing. Reserves. I mean, they got forces sitting along the Italian border. They got some forces, sitting out a little bit, sitting on the Spanish border. They got some, various forces around, and they got, units in training up, and whatnot. But there's no real organized reserves. And Churchill is shocked, because you have to realize Churchill has, after the war starts, Chamberlain knew the war was coming. He just knew it. He again, and I'll defend Chamberlain. He doesn't say peace in our time. He says peace for our time, and he's referring to some different stuff going on. But I could end his sentence that he doesn't say, that he can't say diplomatically, at least. Peace for our time to prepare for the war. It's not, oh, peace in our time. Yeah, we got Hitler's agreement where it's peace. Peace out, go home. No, right after, within months of the, Munich conference in the Sudetenland, Britain really starts rearming. Chamberlain gets behind rearmament and pushes, okay? He pushes. He's not pushing for war. He's pushing for rearmament because he knows war is coming. He doesn't know when, doesn't know whether it's going to be over Poland or over the remnants of Czechoslovakia or whatever it might be. He doesn't know, but he knows war is coming. So he is rearming Britain. He believes Britain, and he's probably right, Britain is not ready in 1938 to fight Germany if Germany's ready to go to war. Now, I could argue that Germany might materially be more ready in 38 than Britain, but the generals themselves very well are, and there's talk of a coup against Hitler. If, and I know what the question was, so I haven't forgotten it. If there's a big push, they actually, I forget which general. Right now, I forget which generals actually tells one of the British, if you go to war over the Sudetenland with Czechoslovakia and you push hard, not just declare war, but push hard, I and some other generals will do a coup against Hitler. But you have to get in and push hard, and then we will do a war or do a coup against Hitler and bring down the regime, and then we can have peace. We'll get out of Sudetenland, and I don't know whether they would have wanted to get out of Austria at that point or whatnot, but that they would give all of Czech lands back if the Western Allies would give them peace at that point. So again, I always have to say warfare is a political act. Always have to keep politics in mind. Now, France just is not capable of pushing against Germany. And I mean that, literally. It's not that they don't have trucks or tanks or airplanes. It's just structurally within their army, how it's structurally organized. Structurally, how they built the Maginot Line. Ideologically, with their military ideology. Not talking politics. I'm talking about they built the, shall we say, the Maginot mentality, the mentality of having your enemy send wave after wave of attacks on you, and you through good planning and defensive setups, we'll break that enemy, we'll bleed them white. We can, just defeat them that way. So, sort of military doctrine. Maybe I should say doctrinally, but it's sort of beyond doctrine. They're defensive. Politically, why die for Danzig is one of the sort of anti-war cries, and they say, I'm sure they're saying in French or whatever you'd say, but is sort of the slogan that's said. So whether it's the maybe not the professional soldier, but the reservist soldier, he's not politically or emotionally wanting to go on the offensive. The political leadership is not wanting to go on the offensive. The home front, French person, man, woman, whatever, is not motivated to go for a massive offensive, so they can't. I know that wasn't the question, but they just really Just, and I can probably go into other ways that the French are incapable of doing so. But had they done so, had they somehow vigorously done so and assaulted the West Wall, okay, remember, Germany has, or had, I think it's like 3 million SA men. 3 million. Now, after Hitler comes to power, and after in 1934, after the Night of the Long Knives, where he has, he personally arrests Ernst Röhm, but he then later has him killed in jail, and along with a lot of the other SA leadership. After that time period, there is a downsizing of the SA. A lot of the older men are either leave the SA or they go into the reserves of the SA, because there is actually an SA reserve. And the SA is sort of a reserve, but there's a reserve of the reserve, basically sort of inactive duty, but still members. So that's, and I don't write, it's really hard. Again, I'll say, the way I found the order of battle and where they were located for the SA for my mod was, I found literally a photocopy of a phone book, because there's just no other data about it. There's just no books about it, and I've gotten my hands on every published book that I could find in English on the SA post 1934. There's a lot of stuff on it pre 1934, but post 1934, after Röhm's dead, there's almost nothing. There's just a handful of books, and I read every one I could get my hands on. And, like they said, they downsized the SA. But they've also taken a lot of SA men and drafted them to the army. Now, they're still members of the SA. They still have their SA uniforms sitting in a closet somewhere. But they're now wearing, field gray. But there's still a large reserve of SA in existence. That the SA that makes up the Sudeten SA are well trained and well armed, so much so that a few battalions are actually used in the invasion of Poland, because they have their, it's machine guns and mortars, not artillery pieces and tanks, but it's well armed battalions, and they're used and they fight very well. And it's only just some of them, because it was just sort of what was immediately available, and we're able to push into Poland quickly. But there's more of it there. Some of the SA that's been trained up, that had been sort of trained up getting ready to invade and fight in Austria, that doesn't happen. So there's some well-trained SA units that exist. And the SA is expanded when it goes into Sudeten land and whatnot. So there's still probably more than 1 million SA men in 1939 that are, not in, an army uniform, but they're in SA uniform, and they're all trained militiamen. You hear about them late in the war, and they're called Volkssturm, because they and other Nazi organizations are used to form the Volkssturm. But they are around as SA reserves in 1939, 1940. So you would find a lot of forces here. You also have the Wehrkrest system, which is the training system for the German army that has functional military units made up of experienced soldiers as trainers and inexperienced recruits being trained to be artillerymen, being trained to be anti-tank gunners, trained to be machine gunners, trained to be, riflemen, just going through the training process, but they're around as military units. And the whole idea is, of course, those soldiers once they're done with their training, are going to go off to their permanent unit. But they're temporarily as part of this. And there's the Ersatz, or home army, that existed that is not called up for the invasion of France. And a few of the ersatz are sort of, operating as, sort of rear area follow along kind of stuff in some of the Low Countries, and I don't think there's any in Denmark, but basically it doesn't do anything. And this is fairly large numbers of divisions. There's eventually, I have to look back at, because I know this from doing TRE, there's even an ersatz panzer division that eventually gets mobilized, I think sometime in 1944, to go fight on some front. I forget which one, whether it's in the west or in the east, I don't know. But it's eventually mobilized. But I think it's sitting around in 1939, 1940. So there's a whole panzer division that doesn't get used in either Poland or France or whatever, sitting around. Now it's equipped with, my understanding is with one or two examples of the newest tanks, because it is sort of these are the ersatz army is sort of like the Wehrkrest, in that it is sort of a training element that then sends trained personnel as replacements or to other units or to create new units. But there is that, and then but a lot of older tanks, Panzer Is and Panzer IIs mostly, which there's still a lot of Panzer Is and Panzer IIs. So there's a whole nother Panzer division, at least one of them, that doesn't get used in any of the orders of battle for any of the attack because it's part of the ersatz army. So all of these would have been available had Germany been pressed hard, because they would have. Now they would not be taking Berlin SA men or Breslau SA men and throwing them on the Western Front. They would have been using, SA men from this region. Now the ersatz army, that would be moved around, and obviously it wouldn't have gotten in here. And had I been even halfway watching, it wouldn't have gotten into this. And had I not made the mistake of leaving that one province undone, that wouldn't have happened either. But, had they pressed, I don't think they can save Poland. I don't think, had they been motivated, I don't think they could save Poland. But they might have been able to occupy the Rhineland had they really pushed hard. It would have been interesting. I still think Germany could have crushed Poland fast enough and gotten its forces around in time. But yeah, we just don't know. Again, warfare is a political act. Had, I don't know, Frankfurt fallen or something like that, would that have triggered a coup in Germany? Hitler is worried about the military leadership. Hitler and some of the people like Goering, particularly, I'm using that name because I know, and he works with Himmler, is worried about the military leadership. So they go to Bloomberg, a very high-ranking general, basically the guy in charge of the army, gets married to a young woman. He's an older gentleman, gets married to a young woman. She's a former prostitute. He knows it. Most people don't know it. Hitler doesn't know it. Hitler goes to the wedding. Within a week, Goering and others are sitting in front of Hitler with the evidence. Yeah, because in Germany during the Weimar years, prostitution was entirely legal if you're a registered prostitute. If you're not a registered prostitute, because they want to check you for venereal disease and other things, if you're not a registered prostitute and you get caught, that's a crime. So Germans are very orderly in that way. So that I forget exactly the details, whether it was I think it was an arrest record and not being a registered. I think she was arrested for prostitution as opposed to being a registered prostitute, but I can be wrong with that. But there's real records. She was a former prostitute at some point in her life. Not that she was being active a prostitute recently before getting married, but it was like for a time in her life as a young woman. You know, desperate times and in desperate situations, you get that. And this is embarrassing. Now, no one needs to make this public. It's not even going to get out, but they get in front of Hitler with this, and Hitler's worried about him. And then Fritsch, this guy here, Fritsch, he is the chief of staff, the number 2. He is the the popular successor within the army. Because Blumberg's a bit older, who would replace him? It would be Fritsch. They're worried about Fritsch. There is an arrest record for homosexual activity by somebody with that name. Now, anybody who does any investigation would realize that when that person, that's a different person. You know, I don't know if they had a arrest photo, but there's just an arrest record for homosexual activity. I'm not sure exactly the details. I don't know if the records were still around after the war or what have, but it's reported that there were real records. Now, it wasn't him, but it's somebody else with his name. And they sort of present the records because they want to clean him out too. So the Blumberg-Fritsch affair, all within roughly about a week's span of time, they're both gone from the army. They both resign instead of trying to fight this out either way. They just realize they're not. That's the first move. The second move that Hitler does, talked about it a few minutes ago, is Hitler gets the SA being drafted into the army in large numbers. Hitler believes after getting rid of Blumberg and Fritsch and getting large numbers of SA men in the army, he feels safe. He's wrong. He's wrong. But he feels safe that, you know, the army won't rebel because there's too many SA men in it. We've gotten rid of because under Blumberg, the army is still like it was sort of under the Kaiser, in that it's its own separate system. You had in the the Weimar Republic, you had the president. And for most, if not all of most of Weimar's history, it's Hindenburg. He's highly respected, even by his political opponents. He wins the presidencies, even though his party is often a minority party or party out of government. But he keeps winning the presidency. And so you have a civil government with a civil administration down one side under him. That whole civil administration has basically nothing to say about the military, and particularly the army. And that's at the time under Blumberg. And, and he's Hindenburg's man, shall we say. And so there's this sort of separate state of the army that the civil government, the chancellor and all of the cabinet have no control over the army. And at one point during the Weimar era, there's and this is not in the very early days. This is, well, it's still fairly early. I forget the exact date. There's a Freikorps uprising in some area in Berlin, I believe it was, trying to remove the socialist government. And I forget who was chancellor at the time or whatever, but he goes to I don't know if it was to Blumberg or I don't know if it was to Hindenburg or whoever was at Blumberg. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know all the details. And, can you get the army to put down this, putsch, use the German term, this coup, this putsch against the civilian government? And the reply was, the army doesn't shoot at itself, or words to that effect. Basically, even though these Freikorps none of these Freikorps members are current serving members of the German army, including the Freikorps. The Freikorps means sort of independent or free corps. These are, political wing, but they're all veterans. They're all politically aligned with the army. No, we're not going to stop them. We're not going to shoot at our own people. And basically you don't have the authority to tell us to do so. Because you're just the political leadership, we're the military leadership. So they had to put it down with the police and whatnot. They put down the coup without, the coup fails. The coup wasn't well organized, the putsch, but it failed. Because there's putsches other than the beer hall putsch, and other than in Munich, and other than the Spartacus putsch earlier on in Berlin, and whatnot. That's in 1920, I think. That's the Spartacus putsch is communists. So Hitler is wrong that he's safe. He is safe, and then you may wonder, why is Hitler? Why it's only the. I mean, there are periodic attempts at assassination, but he's safe from a military coup. And you even see how quickly the, just his existence. I mean, had he died in the, Stauffenberg bombing in there, that might have been different. But because he survived and because he gets on the phone, because Stauffenberg gets out of the Wolf's lair, gets to Berlin, he's in charge. He is the guy in charge of organizing the Ersatz army, or the home army, because it's still existing in 1944 when they try to assassinate Hitler. He's mobilizing the Ersatz army, particularly around Berlin, to try to arrest. And they're actually having gunfights with primarily the SS, but SA and other political organizations. And it is only Hitler getting on the telephone to some of these Ersatz army leaders, because they're just following the commands that are being given from Berlin Central, basically Stauffenberg, because he's the guy in charge of doing that kind of stuff. And so it sounds like there are, official orders from, military command to go attack the SS and secure these buildings and arrest these people. So it seems like it's what is order. It's Hitler getting on the telephone to some of these key people, and they immediately switch sides and start trying to arrest the conspirators. The average captain, the average, lieutenant, the average sergeant or whatever does this. I'll tell you when Hitler becomes safe and why he becomes safe. Hitler becomes safe after the fall of Paris and the surrender of Vichy. The surrender and creation of Vichy, where they signed the Compiègne Forest. They signed the armistice and the rail car. That is the moment that Hitler becomes safe from a coup against the army, basically. That is where Hitler has been proven right enough and defeated the enemy that everybody's willing to give him if there's any question, we'll follow the Führer. That is the moment that he becomes safe. Up until then, until he achieves that victory over France, Hitler's regime is in peril. It can fall. Like I say, I do believe. I don't think France had it within it, to go on a good offensive. But the Germans, and who was it?
Los!
Let's see if I can remember just by scrolling through. I think it's one of these guys here. Or it's one of the... I think it may be Hadler. I think it was Hadler. I think it was Franz Hadler that offered in 1938 to the British that he would stage a coup against Hitler, because I think at that point he's chief of staff. He's sort of replaced Fritsch or whatever for the army. Oh, and once Bloomberg goes, he doesn't get an official replacement. He is not replaced. That's a key thing. When Bloomberg goes, Fritsch is replaced, but Bloomberg isn't. That position is never replaced. Hitler's sort of taken over the military at that point. Up until that point, the military is still an independent organization from Hitler. No matter that he's combined the chancellery and the presidency into a single office called the Führer, and yes, has them swear the oath, and they talk about this and all this stuff. I remember back in the 70s and the 80s, well, they all took a personal oath to Hitler, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, after my research, it's taking of Paris. They have the Marshal's batons giving out ceremony in the Reichschancellery, and there was a mega parade and celebration in Berlin over this, and that is when Hitler's regime becomes safe. And now I'll pay attention to the chat again. Sorry for the long talk. I hope it was interesting. Well, I will pay attention to the chat, but we're going to end the live, or not the live stream, end the episode here. I know we haven't defeated Poland, but we have other things that will come back next time for more actions, cutting off this penetration, taking out Poland, and all of that. Come back next time. I'll continue the live stream though, but thank you so much. Hope this was interesting and informative. If it was, like it, make a comment. See you next time. Bye.